Wonderful. Welcome to our third week of our Advent series, The Sweetest Christmas. And this third week, we celebrate love.
Yeah.
So if you're joining us again, welcome back. If this is the first time you are watching us, I'm Reverend Julia Baginski, and joining me is my mentor, colleague, dear friend, Reverend Janice Carey.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Is this weather something? Windy and rainy. This is
Yes,
this is our winter.
the Florida winter has
The
arrived.
Florida winter experience. Yes, definitely. Kind of Christmassy too, right? I really wanted my coffee this morning and
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
wanted my
enjoying it.
sweater today.
You should show your sweater. It's love. I like it. Yes, that's great. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
As long as, hey, if I can have one or 2 days of cozy sweater around Christmas, that's all I
Yeah,
ask.
it's beautiful, isn't it? Right, right.
Mhm.
So, one of the things I think about of Christmas, for me, I can't help but remember past Christmases.
Yeah.
And there's, a lot of us, that's what we're trying to create this Christmas, almost to replicate a beautiful experience that perhaps we had before. And therein sometimes can lie the oh, but someone's not here, or I don't have this. Whereas maybe we could begin to see it as how it's created our character to be here today and remember the joy that was there. And this is kind of what Reverend Teresa Burton was talking about when she was talking about she was creating her various cookies, and
Hmm.
she met a friend who really adored a certain recipe that she was creating. And it really, Teresa had said, well, she doesn't even make that recipe anymore, but this other, her friend, just loved it. But what she loved especially about it was on a recipe card with Teresa's handwriting.
I write in a card.
And I just thought, you see, that's the memory that we want to, the precious memory of mementos, you know,
Yeah.
of the Christmases past. And so
Yeah.
I, this year do not have a Christmas tree because, I chose not to. We have it at the church, but I am surrounded by my Santa bears.
Oh, I
And
love
my,
that.
yeah, and my Santa bears go back to when my kids were 3. I've got them all the years. And so those Santa bears and the various other little bears that have shown up over the years, as gifts, that's the mementos, that's the memories that of Christmases past. And oh my God, I'm not getting rid of those. They're
Right.
staying. They're
Right. I
staying,
know. It's
you
so
know.
sweet because even in that story, she was talking about how, the cookies weren't even that good. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a good recipe. But then it was, for the friend, it wasn't about the cookies. It was that it was the friend's recipe. And she was looking at her handwriting and making it made her feel connected to her friend every year. It was the personal connection and the memory of it all. It was just so beautiful and how she really connected our memories with the bonds of love.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what
Yeah.
we uncover when we have those beautiful memories. And isn't it nice to have a time of year where it's like the memories creep in. Maybe it's the lost loved ones, maybe, but it is, a bittersweet because we miss lost loved ones. We have cherished times, that we've experienced in the past. And there's, the celebration that we got to have those experiences that did really shape us and allow us to have the experience that we're having now. In a way, it's all
Right,
part of
right.
the path and part of the journey that we're grateful for.
And for instance, you and I, Julia, as you've taken off into your career as a minister now and in your church, we are creating new traditions and new memories
Yeah.
for ourselves and our congregations. And I just think that's really special and beautiful. because because it's created out of love. We are creating new memories and new experiences, not based on the past, but based on the relationships that we have today. And we're making memories.
Yeah. Yes,
So
we
I think
are.
we're making memories and we'll remember this. But we have to be present to really make memories, because we want
Isn't
to
that the
feel,
truth?
isn't it the truth? Otherwise, you don't even remember what you did. You're not
Right.
even present to it. But if we can be, as I'm present to something, oh my goodness, I remember when I got that there. I remember when we did this together. I remember, you know, the gifts and the little gestures of giving, because it's not the gift, it's the giving of the love, and the gift represents the love that's given. And it can be a little thing, anything, or
Isn't love an opener to, our gift of presence, right? Isn't love kind of like a pathway that opens us to being in the moment, to experiencing? You have to, and it works both ways, because I think our presence is required to be in the awareness of love now, and
yes,
it's that moment that, like, you become almost in awe of the simplest things that are happening around you, and that's what kind of makes its mark on your consciousness. That's what stays
yes.
with you, that shaping memory.
We have to be home in our soul.
Mhm.
And kind of this is what this is about, is can we be in our soul, and from our soul level gaze upon the horizon of the world, knowing that all that's changing. And if we're present to our soul, we experience and appreciate the changing scene,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's
And
changing. And
and we are changing.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And this is, the sweetness it talks about on December 18th.
Mhm.
He talks about the sweetness of Christmas arrives by letting go of any desire for perfection and letting spirit lead you to love. You
Mm,
know, we,
yes.
oh, I don't
We're
know.
it's the connecting power of love is what stood out to me with that. And I like how this kind of develops into, we can we can choose love, and in that very moment release, holding grudges
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
all of the things that, like, kind of block us. But we have those moments. And I don't know if you have, like, family members. I don't have any brothers or sisters, but I have cousins. And we've had times where we've fought like like siblings do, or other
Okay.
members of the family. And you can get into you can hold a grudge. You can get into kind of like these nuanced disagreements, but then you'll send like a text with like a funny joke or something about your kid, and it's like everything is over then, and you're just
Right.
back to
Yeah.
you're reconnected again, and everything is
Yeah.
good. And it's that, just
Yeah.
that loving gesture, where it's like nothing else matters. We're focused on the real part of our relationship, and we can move forward in love.
I relate it to my brother, unfortunately died when he was 38. So
Yeah.
or before that, I remember that we had some sibling stuff going on, but
Yeah.
he was there for me, and I knew that, and and I would say crazy stuff about him, but don't let anybody else, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So there was that. But then my children and his children, they became pretty close during the holiday seasons, because we would, continue going over to my sister-in-law's house. And so they've got this bond that, even though we don't live in Michigan, Ryan and Stephen, and they connect, they still connect. And,
Yeah.
uh, and I think that's really beautiful. to just to keep connecting that family bond, kind of thing. But then what you were just talking about, my experience of it is like when my kids were younger, and I would really say I would get really angry with them for some reason, or mad for some crazy thing that they did. And then all of a sudden, one of them would be a little ill, which is usually was the precursor to why they did whatever they did, right? And I would feel, oh my God, are you okay? Oh my God, I didn't care. I just wanted them to be okay, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the love that doesn't matter what they wrote on the walls or whatever they did, you know?
Completely just
Yeah.
brings you back into that true unconditional love. And I think
Of
that's,
what, yeah.
yeah, that's like one
What's
of
the,
the things that I love about our teachings is like one of the first things, like even if you're new in unity, is learning like God's love, right?
yes.
Like that love is something so much deeper than how you experience it just, as a human being going through those emotions of romantic love and then having like a deeper familial love. And then there's a love that's deeper than that. And you can follow love all the way to, your absolute I amness
Yes.
and really cultivate, your relationship with God, like to the point where, when you have those moments, like the moment I'm no longer mad at my cousin or whatever, right? And then I'm just seeing her and
Uh-huh.
seeing that in her, which is also me. We are
Right.
connected in God. That's the love. And like I think sometimes our brains just let go for a second and you get that.
And
And
you
sometimes
kind of,
and some
yeah, yeah, you can see, you can see we're all the branches of the same tree, so to
yeah,
speak, and, but it just comes in a moment, and then at least I can't hold on to it all the time, but
that's
every once in
because
a
of
while,
this. That's because of
the brain, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was in a restaurant the other day, speaking to some new people, some new friends, and I just happened to say, life doesn't happen to you. Life happens through you. And the waitress said, I love what you just said. I want say it again, say it again. She'd never heard that. And I said, well, life doesn't happen to you. Life happens through you. And if you think about life is everywhere present. We breathe it in. And what we take with that life is what we give. That's the life that happens through us. What we do with the life that we're given is what happens through us. I mean, that's a bumper sticker for sure.
Listen, and it makes it seem it brings the sacredness to it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
To
the love. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that this life is sacred and what will we do with our chance to express God in this form?
Yeah, and it's back to remember the stories about, you have pavement and then in between the concrete, there will be a little flower.
Yep.
Life is going to bloom and it's going to grow wherever it can, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Same type of thing that this life is omnipresent and everywhere present. It's not, you know, there's no place where God is not. There is
Right.
no place where life won't express.
Right. I
Yeah.
love that. I
It's
love
a
that.
force of nature, that life of
Yeah.
love, it's a force
We're
of nature.
absolutely we're sick. We are a part of it. We
Yes.
are. We are that.
And it's like that concrete that tries to stop the flower. It can't really stop our love.
Yeah.
Our concrete
Yeah.
concepts.
Our concrete concepts. I love
Yeah.
that. It's like the pavement
The
over the
pavement like
little
is blocking the
yeah.
love that needs to show, that needs to grow,
Yeah.
that wants to bloom.
Exactly. And it was like I put stars all over one of the things that I read for this week. It wasn't until like the very last day for Saturday, but it was Reverend Kathy Harwood Long, and she put, nothing we have done or will fail to do can lessen the divine as our power of love. And like
Yes,
that goes right along with that because it's like, and even though we may have our concrete thoughts, it's like, it's okay. you know, of course, because you're
yeah,
human. Like you're that's gonna happen. And there's no need to judge ourselves, to worry about that. There's no mistake that you've made in the past that's so bad that divine love is not present in your life. There's
yeah,
nothing that you could ever do
yeah,
to stop divine love
right,
that it's
right,
present. It's just, hey, in any given second, we can become aware of it and become
yeah,
aware of divine love. So I just thought that was really beautiful. There's nothing you could ever do to block that.
yes, I think that's beautiful, yes. Or, I'm reminded of when Jesus was saying, "Oh, Jerusalem, if I could just take you under my wing like a mother hen does her chicks," I'm paraphrasing this, but
Yeah.
it's that love, and so we can liken it to, he's likening it in that case to a love of a mother for a child, but it's a love of a parent for a child. It's the love that we have for the bone of our bone, the flesh of our flesh, um, and yet we're all of that, you
Yeah.
know, we're all of that family spiritually. When we get that, oh, the borders open, our heart opens. Um, and I'm so grateful to Unity Principles to point to me in my growing that it's about the love that I can give to the world, that God can use me to give more love to the world through this instrument. It's not my love, it's
Right.
love,
It's
impersonal
just
love.
it's that unlimitedness
Yeah,
that's like what you're connecting with. I feel like it's because I have that experience too, where it's like it transcends,
yeah.
you know, limitations, borders. It rises above that. And wherever anyone's at, you can meet them in love.
And that's
That's
pure presence. Yeah, that's
yes.
pure presence, or like what Rumi says, I will meet you in the field where there is no right, no wrong. You
yeah.
know, I
Oh,
poetry
Rumi's
touches
great.
it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Things like that touch it. So,
Yeah.
and like it says here on December 19, which is Trish Yancey. Love
Yeah.
is so much more than emotion. It's a force of nature. And that's the
Mhm.
force that will let that flower grow through concrete and let love shine through us through our concrete ideas. Breaks it up.
Yes, and it's neat how she kind of puts that love energizes. She says love energizes the flood of ideas for things we want
Yeah.
to do. But just the idea that love is the energizing force in our life that what so it almost makes me, think of sometimes I talk about this, like whenever you look back and you've had like I say like your juiciest moments in life, that you've really like accomplished something, you were really
Right.
proud of something, something with your children, a family thing, a business, I don't whatever it is, when you had those amazing juicy moments, like that was love flowing right through you, where you were just like this open, channel of
Creative.
love expressing like that's what that creates.
Yes.
That's what that creates.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way to get into it is when we want to step into it so that we can give it. It's not we want to step into it so we can get it.
Yes.
That's a huge part, because if we okay, I'm going to step into love so I can get it. You're not going to get it. And he's like, it's like, fill me so it can come out from me. The
Yes.
chalice has to be filled. It has to be constantly, it has to be flowing all the time.
Cup overflows.
The cup overflows. My cup overflows. Yes, with that love. And one thing she says here too, which is pretty relevant to where I am, and I'm in such a good space these days, is struggling through the heartache, during this time uh, that comes with loss. Grief is love finding a new way to express. When I know that I've been around
Yeah.
folks and I've done it myself, where oh, don't cry. I've never said that anymore for a long time, but
Yeah.
don't cry, don't this, not cry, experience it, let it out, right? Grief is love, just love. And
Yeah.
it's not, I think I've heard somebody say grief is love upside down. No, it's just love. It is love in this human experience.
Yes.
It's sacred,
Yeah. But it
you
just
know?
says it's love. Grief is love finding a new way to express.
Yeah.
And I've said like, after my mom died, and this is like over 14 years ago now,
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like, grief, it's like even a set, I'm either in grief or I'm in joy, or I'm in grief or I'm in love, or whatever it is. Like I am in grief and I can have joy. And you know what I
In
mean?
the
And
middle
I
of
have
it,
joy
yeah.
and I have love and I have abundance and I have peace. I have all these things. And I do have grief, right? It's like all together, all at the same time.
It's all part of
But
it,
grief is
yeah.
not exclusive of anything else. And when you can settle into that, it's a way of love being expressed at times. Um, I think that's a perfect way to say it, because it's
Yeah.
love is not exclusive. And if you see grief as part of love, you don't feel that you have to heal from grief so quickly to be able to move on with your life, because that's usually not how it happens at all.
And maybe there's no healing from grief.
Right.
Maybe
I like
there's
that. Like I
healing
said,
from
I've
the way we
accepted I
see
will
it.
I
Yeah,
will be in grief and be happy in it. I'm okay.
exactly, exactly. But you have to be talking at this level that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to be at that level of understanding it. So, and I like it says here, the greatest gift we can give ourselves during this season is to practice self-care.
That goes back to filling your cup.
Yes, yes. To increase your enjoyment, take time to love yourself by doing what you love. Why should we do anything we don't love?
Right. Life is
Yeah,
way too
why would I
short.
do that? Yeah, yeah. So the world has it backwards. Sometimes they'll say, you don't be selfish. Well, yes, you're very selfish if you don't take care of yourself first, because you cannot give love until you're filled. You
It's
can't
the
give
it's the
without.
airplane lesson.
Yep, yep,
Put on your breathing mask before you put on your child's breathing mask, then
right.
assist others.
So what are some ways you take care of yourself, Julia, in this type of a situation? I have
Oh,
little
it's
things.
yes, it's a lot of little things. I have to make sure that I take some time out every single day to meditate.
Mhm.
Usually that is first thing in the morning. That's my precious 10 minutes. In the evenings, my meditation looks more like journaling, because I try to just get out everything that I need to clear my mind before I go to sleep.
Right.
And that does help me to be able to relax. And little things that I do for myself is cooking myself lunch every day. I'm usually home alone during that time. And that's one thing that I've just kind of started doing for myself as a health practice. And it's
Uh-huh.
just turned into this overall wellness. I just take that time to do something nice for myself. So it can be anything,
Right,
but
right.
it could be going for a walk. It could be many different things every day, but it's more just being intentional and knowing this is something I'm doing for myself to take care of myself,
Right.
more than just checking things off the to-do list every
Yes.
day.
Yes. And what I've noticed is, like today with this being so kind of gloomy and kind of windy and rainy, man, I'm really luxuriating in it.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily go out and walk my dog because she wouldn't have gone this morning. So I've done other things, I always light my candle.
Yeah.
I always have a candle going,
That's
and
nice.
I have cooked for myself for a while now,
Yeah.
and I enjoy that. And I put some nice music on in the background and do a little
Yeah.
cooking, do a little dancing around my house.
Oh, I
you
love
know,
it. Yeah.
yeah, like that. And then I love to take. I have a lot of beautiful like bath lotions and things like that.
Yeah.
Put lotions on. Take
Yeah.
the time Take the
Exactly.
time to, I don't even want to say pamper, take the time to appreciate this
Yeah.
body that I have.
Yeah.
Little bit of, a little bit of yoga. I usually have a couple of sun salutations every morning, first thing,
Mm,
things like that, meditation. I play my guitar.
yeah.
I just wrote like a couple of chants, you know, and
That's
so I
great.
appreciate doing a little chanting on the guitar. Certainly not, blockbuster hits, but
Beautiful though, and
but
it's for
beautiful,
you.
beautiful little chants. Yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
they're great. They're great. Things like that. And I find like playing my guitar, it gives me something to do with my hands. It's kind of like writing, journaling, but I'm getting my hands and my awareness connected.
There is there
Voice.
is a lot to be said about that.
Yeah,
That is, yeah, that's really important.
right. So it becomes kind of like you get into it. It becomes very meditative,
Yeah,
certain patterns.
because you get into the flow state.
Exactly, exactly. So
Mhm.
I'm sure Grace is probably experiencing this with her piano at this point. Little
She's so
pieces
talented.
might,
Yeah,
all of a
very
sudden
talented.
you're not trying so hard, but all of a sudden you're just getting a little bit further ahead. It's
It's
great.
something that you allow that comes through you eventually. That's yeah.
It takes a lot of training to allow it though.
Yes.
So yeah.
That's for sure. I liked as the kind of the week went on, just those experiences that were shared in, in the week of love Advent. And, just thinking about my daughter, and I remembered in Wednesday, she talked about a Jesus hug. I feel like
Oh,
that's something Grace would say.
yeah.
I
Oh,
feel
that's
like
Peggy.
that's something that she would talk about, that she would say she wants a Jesus hug. This is, this was an expression of, I think this is being in flow state too, because she set out, she was missing I think the departed husband. Yes,
This
years
is
after her
Peggy. Yes,
husband's
yes,
transition, right?
yes. This is Peggy Chronicle.
And she, the night before church, she was uh, praying to receive a Jesus hug,
Yeah.
right? So I
Yeah.
think this is the ultimate flow state. And then like she manifested the Jesus hug the next day, and she was at a powerful service, a healing service, and the person she did not know that was next to her, had shed tears, wiped away the tear, and just turned to her kind of spontaneously
Yeah.
and gave her this big hug. And she was like, that was my Jesus hug.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
like amazing what can express through us. And, like she set out to create that. That was her intention. So
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's flow.
And she was awake enough and present enough to recognize it. Because so many of
That's
us,
it.
we aren't awake enough to really appreciate the grace that's always coming to us. We're like,
Right.
yeah,
I say that all the time. Like miracles are a natural state. It's not like stop seeing miracles as like a once in a blue moon, something, God bestows on a anthropomorphic level on a whim or something like that. It's
yeah,
miracle. The miracles are the natural state. You have to open your eyes to what's going on, to see it. But that's the natural state. Our natural state is to experience miracles.
so let me ask you, how do you and how this is a time where I get to talk to some people who are not in unity,
Mhm.
and they will say things, how much they love how Jesus died for them. How do
Mhm.
you respond to, some new friends? They, one in particular, I'm just thinking of said, I love Christmas because of how Christ died for us. And I kind of wanted to say wrong season, but I didn't at the time. But and really what I'm asking is how do we respond sometimes to people who are taking this story literally and externally and happening once upon a time 2,500 years ago? I,
Yeah, I think it's
a
really
lot.
hard it's hard to I mean, everyone has the God of their understanding. You can start at
Yeah,
that level.
right.
And I am, I'm always happy for anyone to have their relationship with God. I
Yeah.
think recently I was talking to my congregation about the Sabbath,
Uh-huh.
and Charles Fillmore, if you go into it's either Revealing Word or Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, and he goes into a lot of this
Hmm.
and the way that he explains the Sabbath. But he says, look, if you have friends that think that that follow the Sabbath literally, and, that's the day that they have to go and do certain things and worship and this and that, um, go with them.
Yes,
Don't try to change their mind about the
yes,
meaning of anything just because you're seeing it where you can be so inclusive. You can be so, you're understanding this at a higher level. It doesn't mean that everybody else does. So let them have their understanding and
yeah.
don't try to change anything. Just be there with them for that, because you know in your heart that you're connecting over the same thing.
Yes,
Um
yes, yes.
so
And yeah,
that's
yeah,
always kind of stayed with me. And
yeah,
as somebody is new to Unity and starting to come in wanting to see things more metaphysically and more beyond,
yeah.
what what our perceived literal understanding can bring us, they'll
Yeah.
get there. They'll get there. I think it's just there's not
And
anything I can say.
it
Yeah, it
takes
takes
love
time.
on our part
Love,
to
yes,
see
yes.
it, to let them appreciate where they are. We don't have to take it away from them. At least that's how I've experienced it. So it's always when someone asks me things like, and this is in this particular case, well, do you believe that? Does Unity believe that Jesus is our Lord and Savior and died for us? I said, we believe Jesus is our Lord and Savior. Yes.
I mean, yes, yes,
Yes,
just you,
in
it's
a
a
level,
different understanding of
different
it.
understand. Yeah,
There's,
yeah.
you could go down a rabbit hole in
I
what
know.
the Fillmores wrote about that, and,
Yeah.
what Charles, kind of talks about that. That was this symbol of Jesus living forever in consciousness that connects
Hmm.
all of humanity, that we connect with Jesus in
Hmm.
consciousness, in Christ consciousness. So it's just,
Right.
there's
Right.
so many levels and layers
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. Yeah.
was that event what it really accelerated the expansion of consciousness on a human level.
Yeah.
I believe that that's part of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so and
I
much of
just
it is the teachings and the awareness and the knowing.
right,
Um,
right.
it's a path, it's a way of knowing a deeper truth about yourself.
And I love the way Unity says there are many paths to God realization,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
to God real so we don't have to make somebody else follow our path.
Hmm.
They're on their right path for where their soul is. I love what Kurt Condra writes, Reverend Kurt writes, the deepest truths of Christmas is about birth, newness, and embracing what's uncomfortable. Oh
Oh
my goodness.
no,
Oh no, here we
not
go.
discomfort.
Oh no, we're supposed to have comfort and joy. But what about this uncomfortableness? And is that not what we're just talking about? Can we embrace the uncomfortableness in a way of needing to make someone else have a
Yeah.
different point of view?
Can you just be with
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
different opinions? Because at
yeah.
the end of the day, the world's going to be full of all different kinds of perspectives. And that's
Exactly.
the point. And that's the
Yeah,
point of all of this.
yeah, yeah. Can we build a stable consciousness in us with our heart open and our mind clear to see that everyone is a shining reflection of spirit?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what they believe.
Right. And that we can take, into our life experience, and it doesn't have to be, a philosophical or a religious
Yeah,
or anything, but it's just, it's in that urge sometimes that, can come up, um, if if somebody close to you has a completely different viewpoint about something, and not immediately feel like you have to change their mind,
Yeah. Yeah.
but can you just be secure enough in your own feelings and opinions that allows somebody else to have theirs,
Right.
and not see it as, if we jump to I have to change their mind, can we have that be the uncomfortable mirror that's showing us that we're not really secure and stable in our own,
Yes,
because we need
exactly.
that validation. That's the uncomfortableness of
Pull back the projection, right?
yes,
We're
right.
projecting our, yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. And then he continues on in here. When the shepherds and wise men learn that the tiny infant lying in the manger will save the world, all are astonished. And yet that tiny infant in me, that tiny light in me saves me, my world, the way I see things. It gives me the clear eyes, you know,
Yeah,
it saves me from the trials and the tribulations of trying to set the world right.
that's it. Right.
Yes.
Like,
Who
yeah,
knows where this comes from? Because I don't know. We didn't talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. It's like, it's
Right.
remember, the, trying to set the world right. It's like that's in that moment. That's in that uncomfortable moment that there is
Uh-huh.
no need to change anything out there, right? There's no need to fix everything. That and at least if you can in your mind remember, that this is another expression of God that's in front of me. And if we are expressions of God with all of God behind us, right?
Yes.
Then why
Yes.
would I ever interfere or intervene with an expression of God? Like, it's just, then you can kind of settle yourself. But there's no, it's like not worrying, fixing, or withdrawing when we remember love, when we remember Mary. And I
Yes.
love how
Yes.
this story gets to that, because she is the one who's faced with this news, right? This mind,
Mind
Reverend Kurt says
blowing.
this, right? She receives mind blowing, incomprehensible, life altering news. And we get that sometimes in our lives. And it's not, immaculate conception, but it comes in other forms. Maybe it's a health challenge. Maybe it's a health scare. Maybe it's something to do with a loved one or a career change or something, right? It's something beyond our control,
Yes.
right? That we're faced with and we face with in life. And that's, you remember Mary and the love in her heart that allowed her to cope, not with worrying, fixing, or withdrawing, but this is like the ultimate model of how to
Yes.
handle these kind of life experiences that just show up and rock your world.
Yeah.
You handle it
It's
with
funny,
love.
we have to be knocked out of our mind in order for the epiphany to be experienced. At least that has been my experience, is when I've been knocked out of my mind. That's the best
Yeah.
thing in the world. In my world, to
Yeah.
be knocked out of my mind,
That
Yeah,
happens.
it happens. It
It
happens.
makes you
But
surrender. It makes you surrender.
surrender, yeah. And that's the beauty of surrender. You become very present.
Yeah. So, and
Yeah.
it's nice because Reverend Kurt kind of wraps it up on that day and says, may you respond to
Yeah.
that which astonishes with Mary's
Yeah.
prayerful awareness. So it's like it's getting out of the busyness of the mind that wants to react and just dropping into that heart space that is responsive. Um,
Yes, to love, to
the love.
respond to love, the highest and the best. Yes. And I like he ends, I treasure the good and lovingly ponder my response to the rest.
Yeah.
Lovingly, see, it's not like we get it all right now. I treasure the good and lovingly ponder my response to the rest.
Because you don't need to do
Cool.
anything.
Exactly. You just
Not
ponder
right
it.
now.
Not right. That's right. Not right. That's right. I
Yeah.
love it. That's why I've always thought unity principles are lifelines
Yeah.
to be to us, for us. They help us maneuver through the physical realm as a spiritual being,
Yeah.
remembering that we are spirit incarnate. We are love incarnate. I'm always
We're
saying
love
that.
incarnate.
We are love incarnate, each one of
Incarnate.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A vehicle of love.
A vehicle of love. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are you looking at love is the heart of it all?
I am. I am. You know, we myself and Alice the other day we brought the lady by the name of Virginia, who was the coordinator of Toys for Tots, one of the coordinators, came to our church and picked up the Toys for Tots that we had collected. And we took some pictures, and she radiated such a light, and she was very appreciative for us, and we're on their list now. So we'll, be with the Toys for Tots. But it was a very genuinely sweet experience
Mm-hmm.
to I said to her, let us know what else we can do. Let us know
Yeah.
what you need. Because she was saying there's only 5 of them who do this
Oh,
collection, and I'm saying, well, let us know what we can do to support you, but it's that giving, that was really sweet. Because we're hoping to hope, we're part of making a child's Christmas.
yeah.
It's so sweet. It's
Oh,
just
there's
sweet.
so many ways to express
Yeah,
love this time
yeah,
of year. That's an
yeah.
amazing. The anonymous giving is one of my
Right.
favorite things. It's like that's like why I love Santa Claus, because it's like you can, when your kids are little enough, they're opening gifts, and you as a parent
Yeah,
are
yeah.
just, you get to stand there and watch them open, and they don't run up to you and say thank you because it's a gift from Santa. So you just watch the joy, and you don't have any, there's like that anonymous giving, which is the best. It's just like watching their joy without getting without getting into the, oh, now I have to give you something or something like that. So
Yeah,
I love that.
I'm always reminded how pets help us remember that's what pure love is, because the
Yeah.
pets,
Yeah.
the pets love. They don't hold grudges. They
They
just
don't
love.
keep score,
Nope.
and they don't hold grudges.
And I love
That's a
I love
great
this.
reminder.
Yeah, I love the scripture here.
Oh yeah.
God is love, and those who abide in love abide in God, and God abides in them. That's it. That's the oneness. That's it. That is one
Yeah.
of my favorite. That's because it's not me being loving, it's love through. It's
Yeah.
life lives through. And I can say the same. Love lives through,
Yeah.
because life and love are the same word in my mind. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful scripture. And to me, it's just, this is one you can meditate on very easily, because there's
Yes.
just that, it's a beautiful exchange of energy when bringing that into your awareness and understanding on a deeper level. God
Yeah.
is love, and I'm part of that.
Right. And I like this one too. We ponder the power of life. We're back to that little
Yeah.
flower, that the power of life and love is stronger than those concrete. It's stronger
Yeah.
than concrete. It'll grow through concrete, because concrete's going to have cracks. Our concrete concepts have cracks, and
Yes.
that's when love and light can shine through.
Thankfully they do.
Thankfully they do, and that, you know it cracks them up a bit. And power then, uh she writes here, power energizes life throughout creation. The power of life energizes it. We call this God, our power to live and love.
Yeah.
We have that power to live and love.
I'm thinking of, I think it was last week. Um, oh, maybe we touched on it, maybe not, but it was kind of like in the reading part for, I think it was part of peace, but it was, yeah, because wh- when we ruminate, it
Mhm.
steals our peace, right? It's kind of like, and I'm thinking of, we see ponder and in this week coming up a lot, and I'm seeing like ponder versus ruminate as maybe
Yeah.
like a little bit of theme where we ponder in love, how we can respond to things. But the ruminating is like kind of what steals our love, our joy, our peace. And that's kind of when you replay in your mind how
Yeah.
something should have been or how you messed something up. Or,
Yeah.
you're beating yourself up about something really when you're ruminating. So I
Different
like that. We
levels.
have something like a tool this week to kind of like bring us out of that, to say, I'm not going to ruminate. I'm going to ponder. I'm going to let love,
Right.
kind of open this for me to see how I can respond going forward and not kind of get stuck in that ruminating. So this is a good bridge.
I like that because it's a bridge between conscious levels of
Yeah.
awareness. Conscious
Yeah.
levels, we're ruminating and we're thinking, analyzing, and how am I, how are we going to fix, right? And then
Yeah.
pondering is like, oh, what when the angel Gabriel said to Mary, greetings, favored one, the Lord is with you. You know,
Hmm.
just how can this be? Oh man, the Lord is with all of us, Christ is with all of us. And Shekare Tomana is actually where the words were, and we were using that as an affirmation. Shekare Tomana. So I've been kind of playing that with that in my mind. Shekare Tomana.
That's
Greetings,
really cool.
favorite one.
Ah,
It's
cool.
just it's beautiful. You can kind of feel it raising you and
Yeah.
untangling whatever concepts have been blocking the light.
And that's my hope, that more and more people can allow that in,
Yeah.
to allow that in, to feel, that, because you absolutely are worthy
Yes.
as a child of God, of greetings, favored one, that you are the favored one, and that you
Yes.
allow that to really lift you this season. That's so important, that we don't have those blocks, that we don't have those ruminations, that we can be open to seeing we are the favored one, that we get to express this beautiful divine idea. Hmm.
She writes here, Kathy Long writes, however, one instant contemplating the divine as unfailing, unwavering love frees us from our longing. We're abiding in that love that is ours.
True.
Very
Unwavering
interesting.
love frees us from our longings. And that's actually that's very deep, because when you talk about being free from your, what are your longings that you seek to be free for? You can long, and when I think of a longing, it's, a sense of incompleteness. It's like feeling that I'm incomplete because I long for something that I don't have that would make me complete,
Exactly.
right?
Right. Right.
So whatever it is, that could be material things, that could be other people, that could be like your roles, like as, parents or whatever it is, right? It can come up in so many ways, but it's when you step into the awareness of love, you understand your wholeness, right? That you already are perfect, whole, holy, that you don't need something to make you whole, that
Yes.
all is, all is well. I am perfect as I am. I need not change anything.
And like she says here, striving, when we're striving, which is longing, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get, striving is transformed into beingness.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back to
Striving
being.
for love versus being love. How about that?
Being, yeah, exactly. Being the love that we are. Yeah.
Hmm.
And we are magnetic at that. Yeah.
Yes.
We are magnets. Um, and we appreciate everyone where they are
Yeah.
in their journey.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, I
Absolutely.
am so open. This is so good. This is so good because I like what it says here on 1 Corinthians. Love never ends.
Yeah.
Never ends.
Well, when you are in the beingness of love, that's a path for you to know you don't ever end. Like,
Yes,
that's
yes,
the truth of my spiritual identity is that I am eternal
yes.
because
Yeah.
love never ends.
Love never ends, and God is love, and we are abiding in God.
Mhm.
We are one with that. We are one with that which observes it all. I am that, I am that, I am that, I am that, you know? I am
Yeah.
that I am. I am on sacred ground. Yeah. And therein lies the birth of that Christ consciousness that idea, that divine idea that we are holding. That's the thought of knowing who we are. And the
Yeah.
feeling is, oh, the feeling is one of
Relief.
the relief. Yes, relief. Yes, relief is a good word. It's like a vacation, right?
Oh, it's
Here's a
I don't have to
vacation.
try so hard after all. I could have just
Exactly.
given this to God.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. I'm part of the
Wait,
universe.
I already am love.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
it's
Well,
come
love
through. It's
is
the
my one of
spirit.
my favorites. I mean, not that yeah, I guess it is one of my favorites. I guess it is, but I know they're all needed: faith, peace, love, and then of course next week is our joy.
Yeah.
And it often feels like, well, why isn't love the last one? And I will talk about that next week. But it's like once we're really living in love, we just are filled with this sense of incredible joy overwhelms us.
Joy overwhelms us. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's not yeah, and I think it's our tendency to want to see things linearly, but the truth is it's all happening all at once.
yeah,
That it's all now. There's not really a separation between the themes of Advent, that it's all kind of just taken together. We can unpack it so that we as humans can see it and understand it better. Um, but it's all it's all of both everything and all at once. And it's never
yeah.
a one and done. So as we
Right,
go
right.
through these things and go deeper in them, love unfolds on a deeper level and a deeper level because it has no end. You can always go into a deeper awareness of love. You can always expand your consciousness in love because there is no end.
One of the practical applications of this, because I think it's always important to kind of bring back a practical worldly
Yes.
application. Sometimes when I was first, as a in this whole story of things, right? And you get to that point where you're working so hard, and sometimes you can get into this idea of, oh, I'm beginning to resent some. You're working so hard, a resentment can come up. Why don't they help me? Why doesn't this help me? This is the story of
Yeah.
humanness, right? Like the story of Martha, get her to help me, to Mary,
Yeah.
get help,
Yeah.
and so it's a worldly thing. And I just remember having this epiphany, and this was something like, I was literally bringing back the garbage cans from the church, from one, because I was doing a lot. There's a lot to running a church, right? I was
Yeah.
literally, and all of a sudden it dawns, well, of course this is done in love or it's not. It's you do what's yours to do because you're in the middle of doing it. So you either love it or you're going to be in resentment over it. I'm choosing love. And this was a huge shift in the sense of absolutely everything is either done from the ego standpoint or we are in presence. And then if we're in presence, there is nothing more sacred than peeling those potatoes or pulling the garbage in or the chopping of the wood and the water, this is the teaching, isn't it?
Right.
To
Right.
do all in love, all,
Right.
and without keeping a score,
Right. Right.
you know.
When will I be able to sit down and have the time to have my spiritual practice? Maybe it's in
Maybe
doing
you're in
everything that you're
it.
already doing.
Exactly, exactly. And yet
Yeah.
there's these little things that come up for me. Oh, but I don't know if I can this. Oh my goodness, all that idea is I have let myself out of the presence. If I think that something's too hard for me to do, or I shouldn't be able to do it, or couldn't, oh my goodness, of course I can. I can do nothing, but Christ in me can do it all,
Right.
you know. So therein
100%.
lies, yeah, therein lies going back to going back to that swaddling babe and
You
remember
wouldn't have had the idea, the divine idea, if it wasn't backed by
by
the
the universe.
universe. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So then it's a matter of going back and drawing on your faith, putting, and your peace and your
Mhm.
love and the joy comes as you bask in that consciousness of that what that we are building, that we are, intentionally
Yeah,
building of our heart. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Oh,
It was wonderful. Wonderful again. Another beautiful session,
what a great
Julia.
takeaway. A lot of great takeaways today. A lot of
Yeah,
things to put into practice
exactly.
to deepen our awareness of love.
So yeah, it's a practice to take out the garbage.
Yes, it is. And peel the
It's there's
potatoes
and
and
peel the
wrap the
potatoes
gifts and
and
bake the
wrap the gift.
cookies and set the
Uh-huh.
tables and all the things.
Yeah, and look at the old handwriting.
And look at the old handwriting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So it's
beautiful.
very it's all sacred. It's all God. It's all God. So thank you.
Yes, it's all God.
It's all God.
With that,
Yeah.
we'll close and we'll see everybody for our final Advent week next week, where we go into joy. Have a beautiful week, everyone.
God bless.
God
Take
bless.
care. Yes.